Welcome back to the Holosky podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Steven.
And Kyle.
And it is another fabulous Monday morning. Thanks for hanging out with us, Colt. Kyle's coming in with a hot one. He said we're going to get canceled. So
it's definitely going to happen.
I'm all about it. But first, we got to get through the business. So check us out at all our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, not Twitter, X, which is I'll never get used to saying.
That is a weird one.
Reddit and Discord. We're all over the place. Look up the Holosky podcast, and we will be there. The 40 in Airwaves is less than 2 months away. So if you're interested in coming and hanging out with us for a fun-filled October weekend, be sure to purchase your tickets. We want to push this as much as we can. If you have any inkling on going, scoop up some tickets. That is October 6th, 7th, and 8th, 2023 at Ohio Northern University at the inn there. There are live podcasts, podcast panels, meet and greets, and Sunday we will be doing a breakfast of pancakes, which is fantastic. The full weekend event is $50. There'll be a cash bar. We got special room rates if you're going to stay there at the inn. It'll be us, Kill the Mockingbirds, Uncomfortable Podcast, Cryptids of the Corn, the Bump Podcast, and the Appalachian Intelligence Guys. It should be a good time. Lots of good people there. All new episodes we're going to be talking about, why we do them live. It's going to be really cool. Friday is just going to be chilling and hanging out. Kind of a non-formal type of thing.
Let's make this a cult party.
Yeah. Saturday, each of the shows are going to be doing their own brand new, never heard podcast in front of a live audience. And there'll be meet and greets. We'll all have merch there. It's going to be a really dope time. Sunday, again, is the pancake breakfast. Be there or be lame.
Touche.
So if you have a personal experience you would like to have featured on a future show, Kyle has got the goods.
I do. You can call or text the holophone. It's going to be 618-556-0837. You can also write out your story, shoot it over to the email, holoskypodcast@gmail.com. You could record yourself with an audio app, such as voice memos on your smartphone, and do the same thing. Send it over to the podcast or phone. Either one will be fine. As long as you get your story to us, we'll get it on the air eventually and let everybody chew into it. Another thing we're trying to make time for is interviews on record nights for me and Steve. So it'd be every other Saturday at about 8 o'clock Central Time. So if you guys can make that time, shoot us an email. Please maybe recap your story slightly for us so we have an idea of what we're getting ourselves into. And we'll try to set up an interview. And try a couple new things.
On that note, if you have somebody you would like us to interview, send us their name, their information, send our information to them. We'll try to set that up too, because we would really like to start talking to some people about some weird shit.
Yeah. Start punching up through this wall we got going on.
Yeah. That being said, if you'd like to promote the show, speaking of the wall, share the show word of mouth, share it everywhere. We're trying to fall on more ears and keep pushing the show forward. I see a lot of people on X have been sharing the episodes. Love it. Keep it rolling. I try to retweet them every time you guys post them up and keep the ball rolling. I appreciate everybody over there. Whenever a new show drops, try your best to share it. Also, word of mouth, tell all your friends what we're about, what we're doing. Just keep the Holocult growing. We have a Patreon if you'd like some extra goodies. You can go over there, pick a tier, sign up, extra episodes, all kinds of cool stuff over there. We have a Venmo if you want to drop a little bit of pocket change in for our bad habits. We appreciate you. And we got the store up. You can go check that out. We got new stickers that are getting restocked. New merch over there, all kinds of good stuff for you to check out. And you can go to wherever you listen to your podcasts, your podcatcher, that is, and leave us a 5-star rating and review. Today is a new one. A new one. We have a review from Spain.
There we go.
Which is dope. I always love seeing new countries pop up on here,
It is awesome.
which it sucks because Apple won't show anything but American. So I've got to go through like a chart app to find them. But I just found this one. It is from our friend Miss Large D Big.
Oh,
Well,
wonder what that's a reference to.
well then. Mrs. Large says, great podcast, 5 stars. Steve and Kyle are so funny. Feels like I'm listening to my own buddies. Thanks, guys. Well, thank you, Mrs. Large, Mrs. Big, Mrs. D Big, for taking the time just to leave us that 5-star review and those kind words. We can't mention enough how much that helps. Every 5-star rating kind of pushes us up a little bit further, and helps us to be found a little bit easier and keep the Hollow Cult growing.
And more importantly, all that aside, makes us feel good.
Yeah, it boosts our ego a little
A
bit.
little bit.
And we all know if us two guys need anything, it's definitely an ego boost.
Right. That couldn't be truer statements.
Yeah.
So we highly, highly appreciate that.
Yeah. We love each and every one of you cult members out there.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, I know I probably said that 5 times now in the show. It's kind of my little phrase of the day. But we're moving into our personal experience of the day, our listener personal experience. It is from our friend Derek, and it is Sasquatch Encounters.
All right.
Derek says, what's up, fellas? I decided to write in after hearing the last night shift. I grew up in central eastern Ohio in the 80s. I lived on a street on the outskirts of a town in a valley. Our side of the street was a row of probably 10 small houses. Behind us were fields leading back to a river. On the other side of the road was a couple farms surrounded by the woods. The woods were massive, and there was a part that we played in and made hidey holes and booby traps and such. The other part of the woods we rarely went into. The other part gave us the creeps. It usually felt like we were being watched, so we normally would just stay away, except on a dare or if we were feeling extra brave. One day my friend Luke and I were walking down the road, far past the houses. We talked each other into heading into the big creepy part of the woods, and as soon as we jumped over the stream into the woods, a rock the size of a brick whizzed over our heads and smacked into a tree on my left. We froze and looked up and saw something we couldn't understand. Keep in mind, we had 13 channels on TV, and we only got to watch what our parents watched, which was mainly Matlock, Bob Newhart, or Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
I had read about Bigfoot at the time, but it was an ape out west. What we saw looked more like a man, but he was naked and covered in black hair. He had black skin and black hair and almost seemed to absorb the light. Me and Luke looked at each other and ran like hell all the way home. I don't remember him being crazy huge or anything, and I think he was just like, hey, dummies, I'm right here. I remember trying to explain to my parents what we saw, and now that I'm a parent, I realize kids don't always have words for the things to explain things, so they just try their best. I remember saying that it was a black man, but not a man. My dad called the farmer who owned the woods to have him call the police. I will never forget how confused he looked as I'm trying to explain to him what happened. They sent me to bed as parents did in the 80s. Something traumatic happened. Oh, tough shit, kid, go to your room. And an interesting addition to all this, around the same time, one of the neighbor kids found this crazy structure in the creepy part of the woods. We all went and checked it out. So this kid led probably 5 of us kids to the structure in the middle of the forest. I remember we were standing in front of it, and this kid, Keith, who had found it, was like, there it is. And we were all standing there, not seeing shit, until he walks right up to it and shakes the branches. It was all these branches woven together to form this hut, and it was big. We were blown away, and all of us were accusing each other of making it, but honestly, it was very much beyond what any of us could have made. There was an opening that a few of us went into, so it was big enough for at least 3 of us to stand in. We didn't stay long enough, though, because there were fleas in there, and between the fleas and this eerie feeling we had the whole time we were there, we just got the hell out. It wasn't until years later that I realized, oh shit, I saw a Sasquatch, and that the structure we found might have been its nest or whatever. Keep it weirds, my dudes. Derek. Derek, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Dope, first off. I know Ohio is kind of a hotbed for Sasquatch activity. It ticks all the boxes of a Sasquatch encounter, like what you saw, it kind of giving you a warning shot to get the hell out of there. The structure lines up with all the Sasquatch lore. That's one of the main things if in the investigative field that they're out searching for is these stick structures, and you see them all in the main big Bigfoot hotspots. So it definitely sounds to me like you for sure had an encounter with a Bigfoot.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually, as you say that, described the creature to us, I just literally saw a picture of what you described, except apparently it was taken in Texas, I believe.
Oh, that's dope.
Like it legitimately matches the exact description that he gave. So it's pretty odd timing to say the least. I wish I had the picture still because I would post it, but I found it on Instagram somewhere. I was just kind of scrolling through and saw it. So it leads credence to what you saw.
Yeah, it is awesome. I'm curious as to if
I think a state trooper took the picture too.
oh, that's dope. That's dope. I wonder if your friend recalls this. The one that you were out there with, right? If he remembers seeing the thing thrown at your head too. Or if any of your little buddies that also saw the structure ever saw anything out there in the same area of the forest or in any forest in your town. I'm curious to see if there's any other sightings or lore in that general Ohio area specifically.
It would be bizarre to stumble onto a Bigfoot house.
Funny enough, we're right back to the bluffs where the Whistler and the Yahoo and the stink bait taker all occurred. When I was in junior high, I would always go and just walk the bluffs. I don't know what I was doing. I was just being a weirdo. I'd always walk on mushroom hunting and shit. But I was just walking around and I stumbled upon this. It's not a stick structure in the middle of a valley. It was a perfect circle, but the edges of it were raised, probably a foot off the ground, like something had made like a nest essentially. But it was probably, I'm trying to think, it was probably 12 to 15 feet in diameter.
That's a pretty good size.
Yeah, because I could lay in it and not touch any of the sides because I was thinking, man, this is big. And it was noticeable enough that you could see the circle. And inside of it, it was in the fall. There was a bunch of leaves and shit, which I just assumed had fallen off all the trees and whatnot in this clearing. But I started kicking the leaves around and I started finding all these bones, all these animal bones. There were deer bones. There were like little predator jaws. I don't know if it was smaller, so it was probably a fox or a coyote jaw. There was like tons of these bones in the center of whatever this circle was. And I got the hell out of there and never went back.
I don't blame you.
I got creepy vibes once I started seeing, because you see the circle, you know that something intelligent had to make this circle, right?
Right.
Then you find the bones and you're thinking, oh shit, maybe this is a nesting site of something. You see the bones and you're thinking, shit, it's a nesting site of some sort of predator. So then I just got the hell out of there. I need to go back. It's not very far back in the woods and see if I can see it, see if it still exists, because it was weird. It caught me off guard.
It'd be weird if it was still there.
And like I said, ever since then, all this other weird semi-squatchy activity has been going on. So it makes me wonder if maybe, I mean, I don't know what they would use it for because there was no protection. It wasn't like it was like deep into the ground because it was almost like a reverse moat around this thing. It was just dirt that had been piled up in this circle that was about a foot off the ground. And the inside, it wasn't dug out very deep. But I don't know. There was bones in it and shit. It was fucking weird.
That is weird.
But now it's stealing stink bait at the back of my dad's truck and whistling at me when I'm walking around.
No, he just letting you know he borrowed some bait.
Yeah. But thanks again, Derek, for your submission. If you still talk to any of your old friends, I'd be curious to know if anybody else in the town saw it or, pretty much just that. If there was any other encounters in your town. So, thank you. If you'd like for us to feature the show, rewind a few minutes, and Kyle told you how to do it. From there, we are moving on to getting canceled.
Let's do this.
Let's go.
So, decided to go down a little bit of conspiracy rabbit hole this time. Kind of conspiracy, not. I mean, it's just a lot of weird shit, really. But as you can tell by the title of the show, it's on DARPA. DARPA is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. DARPA is a research and development agency out of the United States. It's responsible for developing new tech for the military. It's literally kind of like their motto. Their first priority is national security. That is what they heavily focus on. But it didn't always start that way. When this agency was first created, it was actually known as ARPA, Advanced Research Projects Agency. This was formed on February 7th, 1958. It was actually Eisenhower's response to the launch of Sputnik in 57. Some would actually consider DARPA as the agency that helped shape the modern world. It had a hand in creating weather satellites, GPS, drones, stealth technology, voice interfaces, personal computers, and even the internet. It also had a hand in creating the Moderna vaccine. So it's weird once you start looking into some of the normal aspects of this agency, which don't exactly seem normal. It seems intelligent, the way they go about structuring it, like the fact that ARPA's first director, Roy Johnson, apparently left a $160,000 management job at General Electric for a $18,000 job at DARPA. Right? And then you take that in consideration that the initial funding for ARPA was $520 million.
In 1957?
58.
58.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm going to do some math here and see what's going on. That is a lot of money.
That is a shitload of money. So right out of the gate, that's a red flag, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention the pay cut.
That's not a financially sound career move.
No, that's not even considered a lateral.
We're looking up the inflation calculator here. So that's $520. I need $520 million.
It just says no.
Yeah, it's not even going to do it. So,
nah. Oh, well.
Right then.
Anyways, Johnson was super interested in chasing space programs, which makes sense considering it was the response to Sputnik. He actually initially thought the program was going to focus on space programs. However, later on in 58, NASA was actually formed, and most of the funding into space was transferred over to that agency. Then they get the word that ARPA was going to refocus its efforts in different fields, quote unquote, high risk, high gain, and far out research.
Okay, got it. So inflation adjustment, $520 million in 58 with 3.68 annual inflation over that period would be $5,434,311,268 in today's money.
It's a good chunk of change.
$5.5 billion project.
It's good. That's good for initial funding.
That's
right.
That's heavy. It's heavy money.
But like I said, high risk, high gain, and far out research, which is pretty strange. I realize that those terms, I mean, they can mean a ton of different things, right? However, most of the time, the scientific community is said to, they basically shake their finger at this style of research, like researching these just off the wall topics. Yet it states that the community was more or less fucking pumped about chasing down these fields. Like the scientific community was absolutely stoked to be looking into these far out topics.
Oh yeah.
Some interesting. Go ahead, Steve.
It kind of fits in with the time frame too.
It does. Yeah, it does make a little bit more sense.
Because like that sort of, I guess, not necessarily pseudoscience, but like fringe science was kind of groundbreaking, cutting edge back then.
Right, and also like, you have to take in consideration they're not talking about aliens and shit when they're probably thinking like fucking laser beams and stuff, or you know what I mean, like just really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the interesting programs right off the rip, Gremlins, and the only reason why I picked this one is because it sounds super cool. We all have some nostalgia for Gremlins, but this is an air-launched and recoverable UAVs.
Man, I was hoping it was real Gremlins.
I know, but I just love the name. So, some weird ones here.
Were those all like right off the rip? Were these old ones?
I think these are semi-current ones.
Current, okay, because I'm like,
so some
damn.
of these have actually been canceled, and some of them may still be going on.
Because I was like, holy shit, if they were doing fucking air launched UAVs and shit in the 50s,
definitely
they are
crazy.
Well farther than I anticipated, which they probably are.
Yes.
I'm sure they are.
Insect Allies Program, a program to develop genetically modified plant viruses. So for us dum-dums, the goal is to develop viruses that would more or less perform gene editing on crops that are already planted in fields. So they would use the insects to deliver said virus, which is, it seems efficient.
I know I saw a Black Mirror episode or some shit like that, where whatever they put into these insects that they released that were supposed to help basically destroyed all the crops and everybody.
I believe that. I believe that. And then, like, that's the thing with these topics. Like, you could pick one that sounds really awesome, right? Like, we'll just pretend this one's really awesome sounding. But once you discover that, some asshole, like a massive software engineer person that we know, will want to put viruses in mosquitoes that are not good. Or the ever rumor of Lyme disease being put in ticks, that they never actually carried it. It was put in as almost more or less a bioweapon during World War I, I think. Can't remember the wars, 1 or 2. But the whole theory behind that is that they used them to drop over the enemy. And then the ticks would latch on, get them sick, and kill them. Another program would be remote-controlled insects, which DARPA has apparently accomplished. They were able to do this with beetles. They also were able to control rats with brain implants. They also created a mechanical heart for pigeons. And it worked. And the more impressive one, the heart one's pretty impressive. However, to me, this one is extremely impressive. Why? Because they were able to take a moth larva and implant its brain with a chip. Let the larva grow into a moth, and then they were able to control the moth. The moth's brain actually assimilated and grew around the chip.
What?
So it's like it's self-integrated. That's crazy.
I hate this.
It's crazy.
Bro, I'm on just going off that tangent. I'm on the cdc.gov
Yeah.
and here are genetically modified mosquitoes, irradiated mosquitoes.
Oh, cool. That sounds awesome.
And this mosquito, they have put this Wolbachia fungus into
Oh, yeah. This is cool.
to try to. This is them saying that they're trying to lower the mosquito population.
Okay.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool that you're doing this. But if you can do this, so GM mosquitoes are mass produced in a laboratory carrying two types of genes, a self-limiting gene that prevents the female mosquito offspring from surviving till adulthood, and a fluorescent marker gene that glows under a special red light. This allows researchers to identify the GM mosquitoes in the wild. GM mosquitoes produce the laboratory lay eggs. These eggs carry the self-limiting and fluorescent marker genes. GM mosquito eggs that carry the self-limiting gene are released into an area once they have hatched and developed, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's cool, right? What if they can put into a mosquito a human self-limiting gene?
Valid point. Furthermore, I'm not an expert in anything.
Yeah, same.
Why is the CDC fucking with this?
Using they already fucking touched that. These genetically modified mosquitoes, Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, spread viruses including dengue, Zika, and chikungunya.
Yeah, but
So they're using these, in theory, to lower the mosquito population that carry human diseases.
I just feel like it would be more. Oh, I don't know. I guess it does kind of fall. Like, okay, that falls into CDC territory, so to speak.
Radiated.
But like radiated ones?
How radiated mosquitoes are used in mosquito control. Sterile irradiated male mosquitoes are regularly released in the wild to mate with wild female mosquitoes. Male mosquitoes do not bite. The resulted eggs do not hatch. Over time, the number of mosquitoes being targeted in an area decrease. For example, when the target mosquito is A. aegypti, only this type of mosquito will be affected. What happens if irradiated... Oh, no. I guess male mosquitoes don't bite. So if they radiate the males, I'm like, what if people come into contact with radiated mosquitoes?
You're turn into Mosquito Man.
What if these things get radiated and then just become huge like the Incredible Hulk?
That would be terrifying because mosquitoes suck.
This thing over here using this bacteria. I thought it was a fungus, but it's a bacteria. My bad.
That's still not good for people.
They use Wolbachia bacteria is a common type of bacteria found in insects. Approximately 6 in 10 of all types of insects, including butterflies, bees, and beetles around the world, have Wolbachia. Wolbachia bacteria cannot make people or animals sick.
Okay.
What happens if it starts and you have all these fucking mosquitoes that are already infected with this shit?
Yeah, and we've heard this before.
I guess essentially everything they use is to make the females sterile. So they cannot, either the eggs won't hatch or the hatchlings won't grow into adulthood.
I don't know. Still seems to be things that we shouldn't be fucking with.
Sussy.
Yeah.
Sorry for taking off on that tangent.
No, it's good. Also, all of this, when in regards to my insect portion here, not so much what Steve was going on about, but my insect section was all done before 9/11. So imagine what 20 plus years on top of that has gotten us in that research.
Oh, yeah.
Another program, Meshworm. It is a earthworm robot.
What the fuck?
I'm not kidding you guys at all. HELADS, high energy liquid laser area defense system.
What? I want to know what the fuck are they using the robot worm for?
Don't know.
Oh, God. You're going to make me Google again, aren't you? Look that shit up, Steve.
The HELADS is a laser that will be used to shoot down missiles and such. which more or less sounds like a direct energy weapon to me.
Bro, sounds like a giant super soaker to me.
And I actually went on night shift talking about this next one. It's a program called Ocean of Things. They basically dump tons of these little floating sensors throughout our oceans. They look more or less like the pool skimmers, the whole chlorine. I just found it was weird that DARPA, their first and foremost mission is national security. And they're going to sell it as like, hey, we're just going to monitor the ocean and the conditions and yada, yada, yada. But you openly admit your first and foremost goal is national security and advancing the weapons of the military.
I feel like people just use national security as a way to get more funding.
Oh, yeah.
Because once they started talking about the UFOs being a national security threat, then it blows up. I was talking to Jeremiah from Bigfoot Society, just messaging back and forth, and he was talking about Bigfoot disclosure. And I was like, bro, they're going to have to talk about Bigfoot being a national security threat before anybody will start pumping money toward him.
They'll do it. They'll do it eventually. Of course, now I wasn't able to find a shitload on this. This is kind of what I was really looking for. But they're also working on super soldier situations. So they've made working prototypes of exoskeletons. They had another project called the Z-Man Project. And somehow, don't know how, but they were able to mimic like a salamander in the way that it climbs walls. And apparently they've had men loaded down with 300 pounds able to easily scale 25-foot walls.
What the fuck?
DARPA has also worked on ways to keep soldiers running. Like they use this brain stimulation machine that pulses tiny sound waves into the soldier's brain, keeping them awake and alert.
What?
They also have a nasal spray called Orexin A. Apparently this shit is so effective that it makes you feel like you've gotten the best 8-hour sleep of your life, even though you haven't slept at all. It's just fucking crazy.
I found the robot earthworm,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not talking about like earthworm.
No, I figured it would be a big machine.
They're talking like trimmers, bro.
Let's do this.
DARPA's Underminer project seeks a robot that can autonomously dig large tunnels. The tunnels would be used to resupply U.S. forces in the field. GE was recently awarded $2.5 million to develop a robotic tunneler that burrows both from the common earthworm and tree roots. DARPA is funding one of the oddest robotic projects concepts yet, a robot that mimics earthworms to dig large underground tunnels. It's all part of an effort to demonstrate robotic tunneling techniques that will provide a secure way of resupplying U.S. Army troops in battle zones.
I mean, it's not a terrible way to think, because it would be effective. It would leave the landscape over there in utter ruin.
That's probably why there's tunnels all underneath fucking America, because they've been testing this shit out.
But you go onto DARPA's website, and they choose some rather funny phrases, like how they reach for transformational changes instead of incremental advances, or a reference to their engineering alchemy.
That's fucked up.
Right? That's the one that really caught me. And this is like their official description. Like you go on to DARPA's website and start reading about us. That is in there, the engineering alchemy. They also point out how most of the managers are not only people at the top of their fields, but how they only hire these people for timeframes from 3 to 5 years. So it pushes these people to work at an insane pace. Also imagine that some of the things that have been created and launched by these people in only 3 to 5 years. On top of all that, it's a genius way to minimize exposure, keeping people from working on things for years and having a vast knowledge of everything that may or may not be going on there. They also come to find out, as I did more research, DARPA doesn't really have major facilities either. Like, they describe DARPA as 100 scientists connected by a travel agent. Like, they literally, a lot of times what DARPA actually ends up doing is they contract people. So if me and Steve were really good at something, they could be like, hey, or if we had a good idea, we approached them with a good idea, they'd be like, yeah, we'll give you some funding. Now you work for DARPA. You have X amount of time to get this done.
It's a good way to kind of stay a ghost.
Yes. They'll do universities like we've read about, with other like CIA programs and stuff. It just, it does seem like it's really aimed to minimize exposure.
And with the 5-year thing, only giving people 5 years, you're going to stay, like replacing somebody every 5 years, you're going to stay on the leading edge.
Yes.
Of all of that information and all of that knowledge and shit.
Exactly. The last paragraph is also curious. DARPA benefits greatly from special statutory hiring authorities and alternative contracting vehicles that allow the agency to take quick advantage of opportunities to advance its mission. These legislated capabilities have helped DARPA continue to execute its mission effectively. And then come to find out, DARPA basically is set up to work outside the law. They aren't subject to Title V, which is the Federal Streamlining Act of 94. This has tons of red tape when it comes to hiring and firing of people. Also, DARPA has a nice big nest egg of about $3.2 billion to pull from for its research, which is completely unrestricted. A lot of the money goes to civilian firms that can operate how they want as long as they produce results. Moving into a recent episode that Steve covered, Havana syndrome was first reported in 2016. Apparently, in 2017, DARPA decided to reopen the Pandora project, which was a project that was studying the effects of low-level microwave radiation. This was all done in the 1960s.
Yeah, because they were fucking putting them in mosquitoes.
Well, they started this program because, or no, they started this for several different reasons. It experimented with the process in which cells have the ability to talk to each other and have the ability to control complex biological processes. So, of course, they wanted to see if they could flood them with microwave radiation to overwhelm the system. Also, another really main reason as to why this project presented itself was they caught the Russians shooting microwaves at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow.
Yep. I forget. I talked about it in that episode.
That's what I thought. But that is one of the leading reasons as to why DARPA then began looking into this. Also, as insanely fucked as it is, DARPA has also been working on mind control tech. This was actually put out by livescience.com around 2019.
Oh, they called it the Moscow signal. They hid it behind the American seal.
Well, it's appropriate.
Nerds.
As of now, this tech is non-invasive, but it will send signals into the brain that will allow soldiers to instantly communicate with robots. For example, swarms of drones. In an odd twist, it stated that they want to genetically tweak human brains. So check this shit out. They want to use viruses to deliver genetic material into the cells called viral vectors. But they want to do this so it allows certain neurons to produce two kinds of proteins. The first will absorb light when a neuron is firing, which makes it possible to detect the activity that's going on. A headset would then send an infrared light that's able to pass through the skull. It'll send it into the brain. From here, the headset will actually measure the signal that is reflected from the brain tissue. This will help generate a read of the brain and will help in understanding what the person is seeing, hearing, or trying to do. The second protein will tether magnetic nanoparticles. From here, the neurons will be magnetically stimulated to fire when the headset creates a magnetic field, which may bleed into more mind control type of shit because an apparent whistleblower comes out and claims they have the ability to alter people's thoughts. Basically, disrupt how people think and comprehend ideas. And this states, mechanical disruptions of narrative processing may be ultimately replicated through targeted strategic communication campaigns that approximate the narrative disruptions induced via magnetic stimulation, which would allow them the ability to have people believe or not believe in something. It does this by figuring out which parts of the brain are activated by certain messages and propaganda. So all that is a lot to take in because there was a lot of fucking big words in there. But what I'm getting at is I took those from two separate pages. They weren't linked at all. But it's definitely ironic, to say the least, that it mentions magnetically stimulated in both of the situations there. So it makes you wonder if there were to happen to be a virus that gets out, starts infecting people, and then now the brain produces these proteins and they use the right set of propaganda, they're able to convince you of whatever narrative or storyline they want to convince you with. Right? It makes you, it just, in a way, it kind of, in theory here, it kind of more or less perfects mind control, like legitimate mind control. Because at that point, it's not like all they'd have to do is suggest something to you in a proper way, and you're gonna go, "Oh yeah, yeah."
That's already now.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you're either like in everything. You're either in Camp A or you're in Camp B.
Yeah,
they both have their own propaganda machines pushing you.
Right.
So you're either Die Hard A or you Die Hard B, and it's. I mean, and as far as that goes, like with reading the neuron firing and shit, bro, they already got it. It's already right here. How many times have you thought about something?
Yeah.
And then it pops up on your phone. You don't even have to fucking say it.
Yeah.
You already know they're listening.
Fuck yes.
But have you, when you've thought about something, you haven't said it out
loud? I've had it happen.
And boom, it's right there.
100% had it happen.
It's already out there.
Yeah, I've 100%
I feel like it has been.
Yeah. But it's just weird when they break it down in these almost essentially two different types of programs. But if you combine those programs and mix it with the past several years and the way people's thought processes have changed so much, because you see it just as much as I do, right? The way people think anymore is just, it confuses me so much to a degree that I just throw my hands up. I go, I don't understand. I just don't understand. I don't get where your logic is coming from. But I know that in the past, you've had presidents throw out laws on propaganda and stuff. So now propaganda is legal in the United States. And it just, how fucking narcissistic is it that you, as anyone on the planet, decides that I want to be fully in control of everybody else? Like, it's a thought that my brain can't comprehend either, because I don't fucking care enough. I want you to live your best life. And if you, that's almost like this, I came up with this fucking cheesy ass analogy. It would be like talking to your significant other and going, all I want from you is for you to tell me that you love me. And then your spouse goes, well, I love you. And you're like, that doesn't fucking count. It doesn't count because I just told you to do that. Like, it doesn't count. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, but I also don't see the world the way that some of these other people see the world. So that plays a lot into that. But it's just like you see it here in like black and white, man. Like, they got called out on working for these vaccines that got pushed out. They've openly been into mind control programs. And it's all for national security. It's all for the betterment of the military, you know? And then if think about, like, from a manager's point of view, you want the people underneath you to do what you say, right? You want it to go as smooth as possible. You don't want Steve in the corner going, fuck you, Kyle, I'm not doing that today. You want him to go, yes, sir.
Dude, in the propaganda machine, it's been rolling hard.
It's nuts.
It's been rolling hard for a long time.
I 100% agree.
When you have people worshiping political figures like they are gods, something is fucking wrong with the system.
Mm-hmm.
When you have people fucking willing to die for a political figure, something is fucking wrong.
Yeah.
With the propaganda machine, with the way people's minds work. Like, these people are not gods. They are not martyrs. No. They are all cut from the same cloth.
Dude, that's how I view the world. 100%. Like, legitimately that way.
100%. And you have camps that think these people are above God.
Oh yeah.
Above, like,
100%.
like worshipable.
Yeah. They literally think they are God.
Out of here. You're 100% right. Something that they have done have fucked up people's brains. Infinitely.
No, I agree. Because the way I view the world, this is how I see it, right? Steve's important to me. He matters to me. I would care if you passed away, right? But some asshole on the other side of the planet could give a fuck less.
Never gonna know.
Could give a fuck less.
Yep.
And your name could literally be blasted all over everything, TV, radio, and that person still isn't going to give a fuck because they didn't know who you were. They had no emotional connection to you. So every single person on the planet is that, right? To somebody, you are the world. And to somebody else, you're fucking literally nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the way of life. It's just the way that it is. And so to act like anybody is technically above that is just, like, I don't know you, man. And we are all, as much as I hate to say it, we're all fucking replaceable to a degree, obviously. You know, to certain situations we're not, but we're all replaceable. And I just, you should always be able to scrutinize your boss. I'll put it to you that way. You know, you should always be able to question your boss.
And I do.
Right. But you should, because if they claim to know better and are better, they should be able to address you and your concerns, you know, or take what you have to say in consideration and move forward. It doesn't have to be this big fucking ordeal of I'm the king and you're the peasant.
And I kind of on the same track in the episode, I'm thinking about, like, genetically modifying the brain to be able to communicate with machines and robots and drones and shit. They're already close.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look at your
And that shit that I found was taken from years back. This ain't like yesterday.
Look at the Alexas and stuff. Like you can tell Alexa what to do. How far are they from just thinking about it?
Oh yeah.
To get it to do what it wants.
That's what they want with that headset and shit, because there's that lag time in speaking it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That it's not much. It's not much lag, but in a battle situation, it is a lot.
You think it happens. Boom.
Yes, exactly. But isn't it fucking crazy that, okay, you remove the past couple of years from the equation, all of that. It's crazy to me that they figured out a way to inject something in you to where it makes your neuron, when it fires, it doesn't light up. Okay. It darkens the area. That's how they know when the neurons are now firing, is when the area is dark, because it absorbs the light. And so by injecting the propaganda machine into it, it's like the perfect manipulator, because now they get to talk to you, and you have the new proteins in your brain. You have the headset on, and they get to talk to you, and they get to map the brain. They get to see what fires where and how it all operates. So then you take that formula, and it's just like running ads for your business. You run an ad, well, this ad flops. You run another ad, well, this section of the ad did really good. So you start piecing together the puzzle through trial and error. And that means, bro, the manipulation goes off the fucking charts, because they know what buttons to push.
Yeah. And then that is just, that's even more so a division campaign than propaganda is.
Absolutely.
All you have to do is say, hey, Kyle over there, he thinks a little different than you.
Mm-hmm.
He's fucking wrong. He's fucking wrong. And you're right.
Right, exactly.
He's fucking wrong. You're right.
Exactly.
And you need to hate him for that.
Yep. Dude, it's terrifying.
And then
you interject AI on top of all that.
Yeah. Bro, they could put that shit in the fucking water. They probably already have.
Oh, yeah. I fucking would not be surprised at all. Wouldn't be surprised at all. You know, and then it's just fucking crazy, man. And then, so all of this sounds like a big bombshell. Everything that we've just talked about sounds like a big bombshell for the past several years, right? Because of the C-19 and all that bullshit. But believe it or not, this has been in the works for a hot minute, because the creation of a sister company called D.A.R.P.A, also known as Harpa. So essentially, the way you can picture this organization is you take DARPA, the military intelligence arm, research arm that focuses on weaponry and just all types of stuff for that. Harpa is the health version of that.
Great.
Right? Great. So DARPA they'll go for these far-fetched ideas. Well, Harpa is now going to do the crazy shit when it comes to the health. And it's actually going to be inserted in with the NIH. So they're gonna house that within the NIH or the NH. Yeah, it's NIH, National Institute of Health or something like that.
Sounds right.
So they're housing it inside that.
Yeah, National Institute of Health.
But Harpa is adopting the motto high risk, high reward.
Of course they are.
It's noteworthy that one of the things they will be trying to tackle with these new avenues is they're going to really heavily focus on mRNA vaccines in the curing of cancer, which we all know cancer is a formidable opponent, something that has plagued people for a very long time now. And tackling that and finally officially defeating cancer would be phenomenal. Nobody wants to see a loved one get taken out by that.
No, I feel like if you live long enough, you're going to die of cancer.
Exactly. So it would be absolutely amazing to see that illness being taken off the table. Like, it's not a big deal anymore. But we all know that when it comes to these things that sound too good to be true, it generally is. And with this type of knowledge and technology backing it, it's always a double-edged sword, right? You can always see the positive implements of said technology or whatever. Like with the mosquitoes thing, you can totally see that being a great thing because everybody fucking hates mosquitoes. But at the same time, you get some jackass that wants to put some deadly-ass virus, some Ebola virus in mosquitoes, and now it's just jacking the world. But my point is, with all this, just like our cell phones, you know, like I said, everything man-made comes with a price. It's up to everybody to decide if it's worth paying. But the former vice chair of General Electric, Robert Wright, has been pushing for Harpa for quite some time. One of the first programs that is intended to come out of Harpa, which literally does not make any sense, and it sounds sketchy as fuck. It's called Safe Home. And what they would actually do is they would take data from Apple Watches, Fitbits, Echoes, Google Home, among
probably Alexa, fucking all that shit,
among other devices. They would actually suck up shitloads of information. They would even connect to the health providers of the country and suck up that data, which just it doesn't sound like
legal.
Even possible. Yeah,
no, it doesn't sound legal.
Exactly. But and this is like, so if you were to sell it on a certain basis, you might be okay with it. But check this shit out. It will connect to all those in order to determine if a person might be likely to commit a crime.
Oh, yeah, you've heard about this for a while.
Fuck
now.
yeah. But this is like it. Like, this is it. Yeah. And the fact that it's coming out underneath Harpa, which is supposed to be focused on health, I guess it does, because I think I remember reading.
You're protecting the health of others.
No, I think I remember reading. I could be wrong, and I think I might have overlooked it and didn't understand it, so I just kind of brushed it off to the side. But I think it has to do with the psyche.
Oh yeah, like mental health.
Yes. So I think that might be how they're spinning it.
I've read that this is supposed to be a thing. Like, I heard about it with, like, a lot of people throw it out there with Neuralink to be able to get into people's psyches and stop them from committing a crime before they commit a crime.
Yeah.
But at that point, what kind of information could you suck up that would constitute somebody would commit a crime? Like, I have 300 books on serial killers over there, but I'm not a serial killer.
Well, and what if you just get fucking pissed at somebody and you're like, all I want to do right now is punch you in the face. Yeah. Like, I want to do that so bad.
They throw up a red flag. Boom.
Exactly. And then they freeze you or do whatever they fucking do to you. Even though most of us adults, as bad as we want to punch you in the face, half the time we don't actually punch you in the face.
No.
Because we know there's consequences, the whole nine, right? There's the whole fucking shebang of not hitting someone in the face. But that's going to be taken out. The human aspect of it is now removed, because now you have algorithms that are going to be like, no, Steve, we know for a fact you were going to assault Kyle. So we're putting an end to that, okay? We're going to go ahead and we're going to charge you with assault, because that's what you were going to do anyways. We just prevented it. We're going to charge you with assault, and now you're going to have to pay your dues, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the way the YouTube algorithms work now.
Yeah.
They have flag words. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. You could talk about preventing offing yourself.
Yeah.
Put up the off yourself prevention number, and if you say the S word, it'll flag you.
Right.
it'll flag you. The algorithm will see it.
That's a
And
good
they
point.
said,
That's
that's
a
a
good point.
no-no. Even if you're like, hey, if you're having issues, here's this S number to call. And the algorithm's like, nah. Hold up.
And it's bullshit because, like you said, it is to help people. We're trying to better people, but it doesn't see it that way because it doesn't have human context. It just has, here's a word I'm supposed to look for. When I see this word, I flag it and I remove it.
The algorithm does not. There's no. The only right and wrong the algorithm has is what a human told it.
Yes.
The human told you these words are wrong, and it does not have any conjuncture about whether what the way that word's being used or however. If it sees that word, it is wrong.
Yeah, that's fucked up. It's fucked up. But
Technology, folks.
it's crazy, man.
Blessing and a curse.
Yeah. But even years before this latest past years we've had, DARPA has actually been working on ways to quickly manufacture vaccines to help soldiers on the battlefield in the case that they were to run into some new virus. Which, if you really think about it, it's kind of fucked up. This was all part of the that they call P3, or Pandemic Prevention Platform. But the fact that that's in there is fucked.
I feel like we're in like RoboCop 17.
Bro, it's crazy. Because, like, okay, let's remove that this could just be an excuse to work on this type of shit, right? But what if it's not? What does that say about what goes on in the world, like in war zones?
Dude,
that's terrifying.
Yeah.
That somebody's just going to go, no, we've created flu Ebola and we're launching it over at you guys. Or whatever,
You remember the Black Death, the Black Plague? We may have weaponized it and we may have shot it into the combat zone that you're in.
Exactly.
But good news is P3's been working on it.
Right.
So
it's just crazy. Like, it's just I know that it should be a realistic concept, realistically, but it still blows my fucking mind that that's a thing.
Yeah, they have to. Like, look at the fucking Cold War where they were weaponizing smallpox.
Yeah, that's fucking terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
What dickhead,
dude, that's nailing it on the head there,
said, you know what we could do? Just kill everything. Just kill everybody. How's that?
fucking nuke. Fuck the tomahawks.
Yeah, it won't be instant death.
No.
It'll be horrible death.
We're going to make it bad.
Let's strap that on the front of a missile and drop it in. That sounds like a great idea.
So fucking crazy.
Fuck that guy.
Crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. But now, believe it or not, it kind of melts your brain a little bit. You turn back the time. You go back before the C-19 shit. In 2018, there was a company called EcoHealth Alliance that actually approached DARPA with plans to research the C-19 in bats. And it was codenamed Project Diffuse. However, get this, DARPA goes, nah, we're good. That seems a little fucked up. We don't want any part of this. And then they buried it. They didn't let it see the light of day. They buried it. So nobody knew about it until it was uncovered. It got rooted out and came to the surface. Now, if that's true, it kind of warps your brain a little bit.
But I mean, in a way, it doesn't.
How so?
Because like we're all pretty much on the same page that the fucking virus was most definitely manufactured,
right? Yeah,
and put out there.
Yeah,
like, all these motherfuckers got their fingers in it.
I'm sure.
They're like this.
Sure.
So Eco Alliance comes and like, yo, bro, what if we put these in bats? And DARPA's like, that's fucked up.
It's a little far.
Stop. And somebody over here is like, yo, write this shit.
Well, I
Write
think what
down.
it actually was is they came to DARPA with wanting to like modify that virus that was in the bats. They're wanting basically do gain of function.
Oh, gotcha.
And DARPA's like, no, we're straight. Like, we're good. We're not trying to dabble in this. It supposedly is what they said. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But if it is true, really fucked up. It's even more fucked up that if this is real, it's fucked up that they thought it was fucked up. And then instead of like narking on that company, they were like, we're just gonna tuck this over here.
That to me makes it feel like they're like, write this shit down.
Right.
This is money.
We're gonna see how this one plays out.
This is money right here.
We're gonna see how this one plays out, boys.
Let it cook, fellas. Let it cook.
Well, I mean, if you think about it,
let it cook, baby.
If these assholes were the ones creating
the Moderna, let it cook.
They might have fucking been like, oh no, we're gonna let this one play out.
That's what I'm saying.
Because we're gonna end up with a lot of money in the end. That's fucked up, dude.
They're like, Eco Health, man, that's fucked up. I definitely wouldn't fight you. You know what? You could.
That's definitely fucked up.
You could just let it. We can see what happens. You know.
I didn't see that one. That one's fucked up. That was a lot more fucked up than I thought it was gonna be.
The DARPA and Harpa's over here. Just
let her go. Let her go. Steve, stop it.
Just let it go. Yeah, but that could be really bad. No.
Yeah, just
bad for other people. Not bad for us.
Tone her down.
Not bad for us.
Tone her down. Okay, so moving past all the C-19 shit, all the crazy stuff, I got a kind of a fun one to end on here. So apparently, DARPA and the CIA teamed up. Surprise, surprise, right? But they teamed up in a very interesting way. They teamed up using time travel technology. Yes, Steve just threw his pen. So you had a guy come forward, whistleblower, Andrew D. Basiago, comes forward to reveal a secret time travel program.
Which I'm already part of. I want everybody to know that.
You absolutely are. It's funny because once again, we hear a familiar reference. Check this out, Steve. Catch this for me. Basiago was present during lunches at a La Hacienda restaurant in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Bro.
How fucked up is that?
I don't care where we go, where we go for conferences, where we go to investigate, whatever the fuck we're doing. We are eating every Mexican restaurant on the planet.
Fuck yes.
Because there is shit being done,
bro,
at the Mexican restaurants.
How fucked up is that? What the fuck are the odds?
It's like the third time we've
I
heard
know.
that.
We heard it on the priest one. Or the priest,
yes.
the Collins Elite, and now this one.
Dude, I'm telling Holocult, I don't like
Mexican joints.
We need ears and boots on the ground at every Los Tres Amigos.
Dude.
That's ours here in Jerseyville. We need ears at all times.
Fuck yes.
At all times.
So post up.
Casa Tequila. Yeah, I am gonna go start going to Casa Tequila, and I'm just gonna listen.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna eat free chips and listen.
You have to, man.
Because they're fighting demons.
It seems to be a because I think the one in Collins Elite was also in Albuquerque.
Bro, what?
I swear to God, I'm pretty sure it was in Albuquerque.
So if you need to figure out how to fight demons, if you need to figure out also how to fight interdimensional demons, or if you need to figure out time travel, all you got to do is eavesdrop.
Yeah.
At your favorite
Mexican joint.
chip and salsa joint.
It's fucking awesome. At least you know the food's going to be good.
That is the real conspiracy theory here that no one is paying attention to.
Uh-huh. We've caught it 3 times. We've caught it.
At least. We don't know how many times it was brought up in the past that we didn't.
Valid.
The thing that gave it away was the priest thing.
Yeah, valid.
We hang out at Mexican restaurants because the food is always good and it's always loud enough that we can talk and no one will notice.
Dude, that's so crazy. It blows my fucking mind. I read that and I go, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Bro.
Okay, but it gets better, ladies and gentlemen.
We solved it. Every problem, every Fortean paranormal, unexplained conspiracy problem has been solved or spoken about in a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, but it gets weirder.
Yes.
So during these lunches, certain people were actually there. People like George H.W. Bush. Bill Clinton. George W. Bush.
All shady nerds.
Valid point. But all these men were informed that a Project Pegasus had found that one day in the future, these men would all become president. The project did this by using quantum access. Basiago was actually a participant in Project Pegasus from 1968 to 1972. It was a secret quantum access Tesla technology with time travel. Say that one fast. It's not easy. The program also suggests that Obama and Trump were identified as future presidents. But something in the article on the news insideout.com catches my attention more than the previous statements. Donald Trump in quantum access cultural references. It pulls from Back to the Future, Illuminati cards, and I'm sure you could suggest The Simpsons as well. But what the fuck is that? Quantum access cultural references. Because to me, it sounds like they have a way to calculate future events based on things that appear in the world. Or at least in like this probability machine way, so to speak.
Sort of like the Library of Babel.
Yeah. It just, they found out a way to correlate real world events and then mix it into this codex.
Yeah.
To see the probability of the future.
Essentially went through and picked the most probable that's what?
Because at the time of this, somebody asked about Hillary and they were like, she was not ID'd in the program.
Don't tell her that. She'd probably kill whoever said that.
That's true. But regardless, some of the things we know about, I feel like everybody's individual imagination doesn't even remotely compare to what DARPA's actually worked on or even attempted to work on.
Trimmer robots.
Bro, I even saw a reference to, quote unquote, the Mars jump. Whatever the fuck that means.
Sound like the 20 and back.
It does, actually. That's a good point. It's crazy.
That's also what they said about the earthworms. The robot worms, they said that they could send those to other planets to dig through and bring back soil samples.
That's nuts. Okay, so at the end of it, it's pretty crazy. But for me, there's one thing I can take away from this entire episode and everything that DARPA has worked on. Possibilities are endless. And, oh yeah, we're all fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, just throwing that out there.
I hate that, like, they're on the precipice of all these technological breakthroughs and they're still using it for
dog shit.
Yeah. Political gains.
So bad.
Monetary gains. Fucking war military gains. Like, hey, we got fucking time travel technology, quantum algorithms. We're going to see who's going to be president. Who gives a fuck?
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Like, they could do so much cool stuff, and they're just like, let's pick the shit.
Like we could,
let's pick the people to invest in.
Yeah, we can modify neuron fires to
map the entire human brain.
Yeah, and essentially, like, help. Like, we could influence the human brain to cure cancer. Essentially,
yeah.
But instead, we're going to use it as a propaganda machine to get our dude in office.
It's fucking crazy.
Stop
it's
it.
It's crazy. It's like picking the smartest kid with no fucking imagination, giving him the coolest tool ever, and then he wants to use it to
become class president.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to use this awesome device to burn ants like a magnifying glass.
Dude, it's so... I don't know.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
And with the, like, if you throw in the advancement of AI and shit,
terrifying.
It's going to go off the rails.
Bro. That's what I'm saying.
The next decade is going to go off the fucking rails.
That's what I'm saying. Because there's so much progress that could be made with mapping the human brain and understanding how, like, they were literally talking about just by seeing the way the neurons fire and shit, like with a soldier on the battlefield, they'll be able to understand what, like, literally what he's doing, what he's encountering. Just by understanding what's firing, when it's firing, and understand, like, mapping that entire sequence to a degree that it's almost like having a real-time camera.
Yeah. You would be, you would use his eyes as cameras.
You probably could at that point.
You know what I mean? Because your eyes are going to take in what you're seeing, and it's going to fire off your brain.
Exactly.
And you're essentially just another receptor of that person's eyes.
Yeah, because furthermore, if you were able to understand that, and then you plug that into an AI program, it could generate then essentially a live feed from that. I mean, it would be augmented to a degree, but you would understand
what they're
saying. It'd be like playing Call of Duty.
Or if you could somehow map it into where it would just, like produce the images onto. But if
it transmitted it into that headset and then sent them, that would work like a camera.
I was going to say, if the headset can put signals in, you'd think it could take signals back out.
Yeah, which then it could
would be a camera.
Yes, absolutely. Which that's fucking crazy. Great, DARPA's going to hire us now.
We got you.
Oh, we ain't.
Just destroy it from the inside out, baby.
Yeah, we ain't building shit, that's for sure.
If we learned anything from SLC Punk, it's you got to destroy it from the inside out. But anyway, I don't think that's going to get us canceled. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
No.
There's not a whole lot controversial going on there.
No, I was kind of worried about the C-19 stuff, but then as we got into it, I'm like, this ain't so bad.
No, I think it's the time has passed.
I read it and I kind of like restructured it so it's not as side choosing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think everybody knows that it was
because these were all probably written at like the height of all that crap.
Everybody knows it was created and it was shitty and it was used to turn everybody against one another and it was just a big fucking ordeal.
Yeah, because Holosky doesn't pick sides because we are
all sides are fucked.
Yeah, well, we're just our own team.
Yeah, and I just wish everybody would just like look out for your people.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, at the end of the day, I'm saying vote for us or get fucked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't worry about what fucking Dan down the road's doing.
Yeah,
take care of your people.
Fuck Dan.
Take care of your fucking people, bro.
That's where I'm at, man.
Take care of your team because they're the only people that are going to take care of you.
That's all you can do.
Don't pick sides when you can take care of your team.
Don't listen to the noise.
That's fucking right. But anywho, thanks for hanging out with us this Monday. Hopefully it's got you fired up to just suplex the fucking week into submission. Until we meet again, hey, check us out at all of our social medias. I won't go through the whole spiel, but stay safe, stay weird, and everyone go support your local Mexican restaurant and keep your fucking ears open because shit's going down.